Before we begin, if you value serious, well-researched history that connects the past to real-world survival instincts, take a moment to subscribe to Iron Age Instincts and share this video with someone who studies history beyond the surface. What we're discussing today isn't trivia. It's a quiet force that shaped empires, wars, economies, and survival itself. For about the next minute, I want to hook you with something historians often overlook. When societies collapse, people think first of food, weapons, fuel, and land. Yet over and over again, from imperial China to revolutionary France to World War II, one resource quietly determined who could govern, who could organize, and who could rebuild. That resource was paper. Not gold, not iron, paper. Without it, laws vanish, logistics fail, knowledge decays, and memory itself becomes fragile. Paper is not passive, it is infrastructure. And once you see how deeply paper shaped power, you will never look at a book, document, or ledger the same way again. Paper became strategic the moment humans needed to store decisions beyond memory. In early societies, power relied on oral tradition, but that system collapses under scale. As populations grew and territories expanded, rulers needed permanence. Paper allowed states to remember taxes owed, land owned, soldiers counted, and laws enforced. In China, the Han dynasty didn't just invent paper as a convenience. They recognized it as a governing tool. Paper made bureaucracy faster, cheaper, and more resilient than bamboo slips or silk. When something allows faster administration across distance, it becomes strategic by definition. The ability to control information production is where paper shifted from useful to decisive. States that controlled paper mills, scribes, and archives controlled narrative and authority. Medieval monasteries were not merely religious centres. They were information fortresses. Paper and parchment preserved legal rights, lineage claims, agricultural knowledge, and theological authority. If you burned an archive, you didn't just destroy paper. You erased legitimacy. This is why invading armies repeatedly targeted libraries and record houses. They understood that destroying paper was equivalent to killing a state's memory. The printing press elevated paper into a mass weapon. Once paper could be replicated cheaply, it destabilized centralized authority. Pamphlets fueled religious reform, political revolutions, and, ideological warfare. The American and French revolutions were not just fought with muskets. They were fought with printed arguments, decrees, and propaganda. Paper allowed ideas to move faster than armies. If you want a practical takeaway, this is the moment where paper becomes a tool of decentralization. Anyone with access to print could challenge power. That lesson remains relevant whenever control of communication becomes contested. Now, paper's role in war logistics is often ignored, yet, modern warfare really collapses without it. Orders, maps, supply logs, casualty lists, intelligence reports, ration cards and currency, all of these depended on paper. During the Second World War, paper shortages forced governments to ration publishing, packaging, and even, believe it or not, toilet paper. This wasn't trivial. Reduced paper meant reduced coordination. One reason resistance movements valued paper so highly was because forged documents saved lives. Identity papers, travel passes, and ration books were quite literally survival tools. From a survivalist perspective, paper equals mobility and legitimacy. Currency itself shows how paper becomes strategic through trust. Paper money works only if people believe in the system backing it. When states fail, paper currency becomes worthless overnight, but paper records of land ownership, debt and trade can still rebuild order. After wars, whoever controls the surviving records controls reconstruction. This is why archives are protected during regime transitions. If you are thinking practically, safeguarding documents is as important as safeguarding supplies. Paper also became strategic through education and skill transmission. Technical manuals, agricultural guides, medical texts and engineering diagrams, these preserved accumulated knowledge. Societies that lost their written knowledge regressed rapidly. After the fall of Rome, the decline in paper and parchment circulation directly contributed to technological stagnation in parts of Europe. When paper returned in abundance, innovation followed. Knowledge storage is not abstract. It is material, fragile, and dependent on supply chains. From a preparedness standpoint, paper remains critical even in a digital world. Digital systems fail without power, maintenance, and infrastructure. Paper works silently, offline, and indefinitely if protected. Maps, manuals, seed logs, mechanical diagrams, and written procedures become priceless in prolonged disruptions. A practical step is to identify essential knowledge you rely on and store it physically. Print it. Protect it from moisture and fire. Redundancy matters. Paper also disciplines thinking. Writing forces clarity. States used written procedures to standardize actions across distance. You can apply this personally by documenting processes you rely on. In a crisis, memory degrades under stress. Written instructions preserve competence. That principle is as old as empires. The strategic importance of paper is not nostalgia. It is a reminder that power depends on memory, coordination, and legitimacy. Paper enables all three. When societies ignore this, they gamble their continuity. When they protect it, they preserve their future. If this deep dive sharpened how you think about history, power, and preparedness, subscribe to Iron Age Instincts, share this with fellow historians and survivalists, and keep building instincts grounded in how the world actually works.